Welcome back for another review. What we have here to review today, as you've probably read in the title, is the Mossberg MVP Patrol. So this particular rifle, I'm going to get that the fuck out of my face for 2 seconds. All right, this particular rifle is chambered in 7.62 NATO, which is obviously also 308. Where do I start? So in America, the MVP Patrol was kind of the answer to the Ruger Gunsight Scout, which is obviously well known for being a short-barreled stalking hunting rifle. And this was supposed to be the cheaper alternative to that. When you think of a scout rifle or a short-barreled hunting rifle, you think of, pointability, maneuverability, lightweight, and shooting out to between 1 and 200 meters. Now, when we talk about pointability of a stalking rifle, we want to talk about getting the rifle into your shoulder and firing it fairly quickly. The weight of this, is not conducive for that, in my opinion. Obviously doable. Potentially, if we didn't have this sight on that my mate's put on, if I had a red dot, it might be a little bit easier, or just using the irons. But I just find it way too heavy to be able to throw around quickly. When I first picked this rifle up, the first thing that struck me was how heavy it is. And now, for something that's supposed to be used where you're in close terrain, in the scrub, and you're supposed to be able to swing it onto a target really quickly, I find this a bit weird. So this particular setup I've got in front of me here, with an added Harris bipod and a Zeiss Diavari fucking 3-12, it adds the fucking weight up, especially when you've got a full mag. Now, these take 10 round PMags, AR-10 mags, but we'll get back to that. Now, this rifle, full mag, a bipod which weighs fuck all. The bipods weigh like 180 grams, 200 grams, thereabouts, and a sight which weighs, usually, between 600 and 900 grams. This rifle weighs a fucking lot. It actually tips over the 5 kilo mark, believe it or not. I'll whack a photo up just over the side here to show you this rifle with a full mag and this sight on and the bipod on the scales, and just to prove that it is fucking heavy. So a 5 kilo rifle that only has a 16.25 inch barrel is pretty fucking heavy, especially when you're using it in the style of hunting it's designed to be used for. So first off the bat, I just want to say that I think that is absolutely fucking rubbish. And if you're looking to get one for stalking purposes, I would probably look elsewhere, because there's definitely better rifles out there that are a lot more pointable and a lot lighter. But as always, let's run over the rifle from the front to the back. So at the front here we have an A2 flash suppressor, so it's the same style as an M16 style flash suppressor. This can be taken off, can be unscrewed, and there's an end cap that comes with it. Now, normally these would come with a front and rear sight. The front sight is a fibre optic sight. The rear is not fibre optic, it's just a normal wedge valley shape, V shape if you will. And obviously these ones have been taken off to accommodate this sight. The sight is fucking awesome. I'm not going to touch on this sight though in this review, but this Zeiss is pretty good. So 16.25 inch barrel, as I've said. Let's go down to the bolt. The bolt is fluted. Let's just rip that out real quick. All right, so fluted bolt. It looks quite nice. All right, you can probably see there, and I'll give you a close-up of that. It has 2 feed horns. The bolt handle is pretty fucking stock standard Mossberg bolt handle, fairly small. At the back you can see the firing pin, or the back of the firing pin, so you can tell when it's cocked and when it's not cocked. I don't particularly like this style of bolt on any bolt actions, but that's just my personal preference. I don't like them because they can get dirt and shit in them, which can foul up. But, that's my opinion. All right, as you can see, there is a lot of movement in that bolt. So obviously it's ruggedized and it's designed to be able to get dirty, and it's still going to cycle, it's still going to function, which is why obviously it's fluted and it is, has a fair bit of extra tolerance in there. However, I feel that that is just a bit too much, especially on your rearward stroke. And I have seen these have dramas with misfeeding because of that amount of movement in the bolt. Sometimes it can fail to pick up a round, so bear that in mind. All right, the trigger is quite nice and it's adjustable. So from the top of my head, I think it's between, you can adjust it between 3 and 7 pound. This one, I believe, is set to 3 pound at the moment. A little bit of creep in there, but it's fairly crisp when it breaks. Now, if you have a look down here really quickly, and I'll give you a close-up of this as well, when this is cocked, you're going to see that this trigger safety is going to pop out right there like that. Now, it's obviously another indicator that you have a cocked weapon, and it has a little lightning bolt on it, which is fairly cool. All right, so once again, taking it up, a little bit of creep, and it breaks. So overall, not too bad of a trigger. All right, safety here. All right, this one actually confused me a little bit at the start. So it has one red dot at the rear, and then nothing at the front. So if the red dot is covered, even though it only slightly covers it, it's on safe. If you can fully see the red dot, it is on fire. And that's just going to block your trigger. So it's pretty much the same as a Remington safety, but just the labelling of it with just a red dot instead of having FS or red and white, at first was a little bit confusing for me, but it's probably because I'm retarded. All right, magazine. So as I said, P-Mag, there's a fucking another style of mag, I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'll whack a photo up of it just there. The magazine release is a bit shit. So it's up in here. So on the 223 version, it's in the center. On the 308 version, or the 762 version, it's on the right-hand side. And the release is very stiff on these. So you've got to put your finger up in there, pull the release and pull it out. So maybe if I wasn't doing it upside down, it might be not retarded. Let's try that again. All right, so you do have to push up a fair amount to get that to lock home. And that's an empty mag. Obviously with rounds in there, it's a little bit harder as well. And then get your finger all over the side and pop that out. So one good thing about that catch being so stiff and all the way, recessed, is you can't accidentally drop your mag, unlike a fucking hair, because those are rubbish for it. But, it can be a little bit hard to get it out. Not that you'll be doing fucking very many tactical fucking quick changes on your mags, but, it's a thing. Now, let's go to this stock. Now, this is one of the original MVP patrols that they put out. This stock is actually wood that has been coated. I've been told that this was only in the original ones, and now they've gone to a fully synthetic stock for the later factory-made ones, which has reduced the weight, because a lot of the weight does come from the fact that this is a wooden stock and not a synthetic stock. Now, the problem with this one is there's chips all over this rifle where this coating is coming off the stock. So it's all up the sides here, and I'll give you close-ups of all this shit. It's all up the sides here. It's all around the base of the, around the magazine well. It's on the sides, it's on the top, it's on the butt. So that's a little bit shite. I don't like that at all. And if you fucking buy a rifle, you kind of want the finish to stay on the fucking thing, don't you? The stock at the front it actually feels quite nice to hold because it's nice and thick. However, it is very bulky, very, very bulky at the front end. And firing it offhand can get tiring, especially if you're putting numerous amount of rounds through it. I'm just going to demonstrate how heavy this is to handle. It's quite a hefty gun, obviously being 5 kilos. I'm going to try and rack off the rounds from the standing position, holding the weapon up the whole time, and see how fatigued I get for doing it. Doable. That was actually fairly accurate. That was a 1.5 litre water bottle at 50 metres, and I hit that 4 of the 6 times. But fuck, man, it gets heavy on the old arm, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, it's fairly accurate. With the 130 grains, not so much. With the 130 grains, it fucking spreads out a fair few inches. Those were 165s, and that was, I'm not grouping with it, but that was pretty accurate. Apparently this rifle, from what my mate tells me, loves 180s. So if you're getting one of these rifles, run 180s in it, and it's going to work a lot better for you. The front of this weapon is a lot heavier than the back, so the centre of gravity is a lot further forward. Even with this big sight all the way back here, the centre of gravity is still very far forward, and that's due to obviously very heavy stock at the front, and this extremely thick, heavyweight barrel, and obviously it's not helped very well by having a bipod on there. Take a step back. The reason why I'm doing this review, or I got the weapon to be able to do this review, is we were in the gun shop and we were looking for iron sights. They got fibre optic irons to put back on to this rifle, and that's when he noticed all these fucking all the laminate coming off the stock, or the protective finish coming off the stock, and then we started to look around for either a chassis or just a normal fucking synthetic stock to drop it into. And that's when we realised that Australia is really bad for getting aftermarket stuff from Mossbergs, and even in the States, Mossberg isn't really coming to the party with aftermarket gear. There is a couple of chassis out there, but they're fucking buku expensive. And for a stalking rifle, do you really want to spend $600 to $800 on a fucking chassis for a stalking rifle? You probably don't. I had a bit of fun firing it, and thanks very much to my mate Sloaney for lending me this rifle so I can do this review. So that's my fucking 2 cents on the Mossberg MVP Patrol in 7.62-308. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments, and until next time, hooroo. So, in America, the Mossberg so in America, the Mossberg was with this fucking rifle.